She wasn't a soldier, not anymore, just a mother in a quiet house, rocking a cradle that squeaked with every sway. At least, that's what the neighbors thought. They waved politely when she wheeled the stroller down the block, smiled when she checked the mail in her faded hoodie, and whispered sometimes that she looked too young to have seen the things her eyes carried. Before we begin, if you believe that service never really ends, that courage doesn't retire when the uniform comes off, like and subscribe. Because this story isn't just about a soldier. It's about remembering who you still are, even when the world forgets. The nursery was small, but tidy in that quiet, deliberate way military people keep their spaces. No clutter, no chaos, every corner squared away. A mobile spun above the crib, catching the soft gold of late morning light. Emily Vance hummed a tune that wasn't quite a lullaby, more like a habit. Her son's tiny fingers curled around hers, and for a brief moment, the world was simple again. Just a young mother, 29, with her hair tied back, rocking her baby and breathing steady. The baby monitor on the shelf hissed faintly with static. She barely noticed at first. Background noise had long ago stopped bothering her. But when the pitch shifted, an old, specific tone, a frequency that didn't belong in any household device, her humming stopped mid-note. She froze. Her pulse skipped once, hard. The static thickened, broke, and then cleared into a short burst of coded beats. Anyone else would have dismissed it as interference. But she knew better. It was military shorthand. Not random. Not an accident. The cradle creaked once more before she stilled it with a trembling hand. The baby gurgled softly, oblivious. Emily's gaze lifted to the monitor again, her face tightening just slightly, the way someone's does when a ghost brushes past. Then the sound came through, low, faint, unmistakable. "Lieutenant Vance, secure the area." The words seemed to pull the air out of the room. The bottle in her other hand slipped and hit the carpet, rolling under the crib. Emily didn't move for several seconds. She just listened. But the monitor had gone dead again, silent, as if whatever had come through had never happened. Her throat was dry, her chest tight. It couldn't be real. That call sign, that voice, it had come from another life, another world. One she had buried 5 years ago when she left the Air Force after the operation that cost her entire team. Across the street, her neighbor Lisa saw her through the window, just sitting there, still as glass, and waved playfully. Emily blinked, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The world outside was still normal. Inside, something old and unfinished had just woken up. She set the baby gently in the crib and stood. Her steps were soundless, muscle memory, not caution. She moved from window to window, adjusting blinds just enough to change sight lines. It wasn't panic. It was procedure. The same smooth, measured rhythm she once used when sweeping communication rooms in Kabul or securing forward posts in Djibouti. Old instincts returning like they had been waiting behind a locked door. On the table beside her phone sat a small wooden box, unremarkable to anyone else. Inside were folded letters, a silver pen, and an encrypted radio the world thought she'd turned in years ago. She stared at it for a moment, thumb brushing the latch. No, not yet. She wasn't sure what this was, some prank, a freak signal bounce, or something darker, but she knew the protocol drilled into her bones. Confirm, assess, respond. From the living room, the soft hum of cartoons leaked through the baby monitor feed, except she hadn't turned the TV on. She reached for the monitor again, this time holding it close to her ear. Static, then a flicker of audio, men's voices, distant, clipped. Repeat, channel open. Location, Vance, verification pending. Her heart hammered. That wasn't random interference. That was encrypted chatter. Someone had opened a dead frequency. Her frequency. A floorboard creaked behind her. She turned sharply, but it was only Lisa stepping inside through the open back door, holding a casserole dish. "Hey," I knocked, but I heard the monitor going wild. Thought maybe it was the batteries again. Lisa laughed, easy, unaware. "You okay? You look like you saw a ghost." Emily blinked twice, forcing her composure. "Yeah, just signal interference. Guess the Wi-Fi's having a morning." Lisa smiled, setting the dish down on the counter. "Well, I can watch the baby later if you need to nap. You work too hard for a stay-at-home mom." The words stung more than they should have. Stay-at-home mom. That's what everyone thought she was. She wanted to say it. "I used to be a signals officer. I coordinated extraction teams. I've heard men die through static thinner than this. But she just smiled. Thanks, Lisa. I'll be fine. As soon as Lisa left, Emily locked the door and drew the blinds fully shut. The room darkened to a dim amber glow. Her reflection stared back from the nursery window. Calm, steady, too calm. Her phone buzzed once on the counter. Unknown number. She answered without speaking. For several seconds, there was only silence. Then, faint and unmistakable. Archangel, authenticate. Do you copy? Her blood ran cold. Archangel. That was her old field call sign. Classified, never written, never spoken outside the operation. No one should have known it. She swallowed hard, voice barely above a whisper. This is Vance. Who is this? No answer. Just static. Then a click, and the line died. The baby stirred, letting out a soft cry. Emily exhaled shakily and picked him up, pressing him close. The warmth of his tiny body steadied her for a moment, reminded her what was real. But in the pit of her stomach, something else was forming. Not fear, something colder. Recognition. The last time she'd heard that phrase, secure the area, she had been crouched in a desert communications outpost, headset pressed against her ear as the world outside erupted in gunfire. That night, her unit vanished off the map, officially lost in an equipment malfunction. Only she had walked out, and only she knew why. She looked down at her son, his small hand gripping her necklace. It's okay, she whispered. It's just static. But even as she said it, her gaze drifted to the baby monitor again, watching the tiny green light pulse, slow, steady, alive. Outside, a dark SUV rolled to a slow stop 2 houses down. The engine idled. No one got out. She rocked the baby gently, her eyes never leaving the window. The lullaby started again, quieter now, more like a rhythm of thought than a song. Every creak in the floor, every car that passed felt suddenly deliberate. She told herself it was nothing, that she was imagining ghosts. But somewhere deep down, the soldier in her whispered otherwise. Emily Vance had been many things: officer, analyst, survivor. But above all, she had been prepared. And as the faint hum of the monitor filled the room once more, she knew the truth she hadn't wanted to face. The channel hadn't opened by mistake. Someone was calling her back. And this time, she wasn't sure she wanted to answer. The night came early, the kind of heavy dusk that felt like it was holding its breath. Emily sat by the crib, the baby finally asleep, his chest rising and falling in soft rhythm. The monitor was quiet now, too quiet. Every so often, she glanced at it like it might suddenly breathe again, whispering secrets from a world she'd sworn off. On the surface, everything looked normal. A lamp glowed low in the corner, a bottle on the table, lullabies faint through the walls. But beneath it all was tension, like invisible wires strung too tight. Outside, the streetlight flickered, cutting the driveway into pale fragments. From her window, she could see Lisa again, talking to her husband on their porch, laughing about something on his phone. Emily tried to mimic that sound once, a laugh that didn't feel borrowed, but it caught in her throat. It had been years since she'd last felt simple. The monitor clicked once, sharp as a dropped pin. Then, a voice, not a stranger's, but one that lived in the back of her mind like a scar. Channel reconnected. Lieutenant, situation compromised. Confirm location. Her breath froze. She whispered to herself, that can't be real. They're gone. They're all gone. But denial didn't change the way her hand moved instinctively, reaching for the wooden box beneath the crib. The latch gave with a soft metallic snap. Inside lay her old encrypted comms unit, still functional, still dangerous. She powered it on. The screen flickered, booting slowly like something waking from the dead. Who is this? She said quietly. Identify. No response, just a rhythmic click, a kind of code she used to know by heart. Then a single phrase cut through the static. They found us. The words chilled her. That voice, hollow, worn, belonged to Captain Rourke. Her CO, her mentor, the man she had watched die on a cracked radio feed 5 years ago. She gripped the edge of the dresser, knuckles white. Rourke? That's impossible. But deep down, she already knew impossibility wasn't the same thing as safety. Her instincts kicked in. She shut the blinds, moved silently through the house, double-checked locks, and turned off every interior light. She was no longer in a nursery. She was in a perimeter zone. The calm of motherhood peeled back, revealing the precision of a soldier returning to duty she never wanted. From the corner of her eye, she caught it. Headlights again, same SUV, engine idling without sound. Two silhouettes inside, unmoving. Not neighbors. Not local. The SUV shifted, its brake lights glowing faint red before going dark again. Her phone vibrated once. A message from an unknown number. You were never cleared. We need you. She stared at the screen until it dimmed, reflecting her own pale face back at her. There were no instructions, no signature, but she didn't need them. They'd reached her through a closed frequency, through a locked line, through her home. A knock echoed. 3 taps, deliberate, heavy. She froze mid-step, baby still asleep in the next room. Whoever it was, they didn't call out. Just silence on the other side of the door. She glanced once toward the nursery, her every movement calculated and quiet. Then, she whispered to herself, the same way she used to before raids, secure. Assess. Act. The radio crackled one final time before she picked it up again. The same cold voice. Lieutenant, do not engage. They're not ours. Emily's pulse hammered. The knocks came again. Closer, harder this time. Her hand hovered near the latch, unsure if she should open the door or the box beneath it. Either choice would change everything. The baby stirred softly, sensing something his mother hadn't yet named. A shift in the air, a tremor in her heartbeat. She reached for him, steady but trembling, whispering, "It's okay, sweetheart." Outside, the SUV door opened, and the soldier in her, buried under years of quiet, rose to the surface like she'd never left the field at all. The third knock never came. Instead, a low hum filled the house. Deep, mechanical, unmistakable. Emily turned toward the window, heart steady now, not with panic but with purpose. Out on the street, a second vehicle had joined the first. Matte black, no plates, no markings. The kind you only saw when questions weren't meant to be asked. Her comm unit blinked alive again, the voice clearer this time, commanding. Lieutenant Vance, extraction inbound. Maintain cover. Confirm occupant status. She stared down at her son, cradled against her chest, his tiny hand gripping her sleeve. Occupant secure, she whispered, and the words, cold, procedural, somehow made her eyes sting. A floodlight swept across the window. She ducked, moving with the precision of training that had never left her. Through the narrow blinds, she saw 3 men step out of the SUV, 2 in suits, 1 in tactical gear. The lead one lifted a small device, scanning the house with slow, deliberate movements. When his gaze reached the nursery window, he paused. For a moment, it felt like the air itself held still. Emily clicked the comm back on. Command, I need clarification. Who are that? No answer, just static. Then the transmission cut abruptly, replaced by a sound she hadn't heard in years. The short, rhythmic chirp of military proximity sensors. Someone else was in range. Someone official. Blue lights flashed down the street, cutting through the dark like the sudden crack of dawn. Police cruisers. But not local, federal convoy markings on the doors. The men outside froze, glancing toward the incoming sirens, and then one of them spoke into a radio. Within seconds, their SUV backed away, smooth, silent, gone. Emily held her breath as the convoy stopped in front of her house. The baby stirred, half awake now, eyes blinking in confusion. A door opened, and a tall figure stepped out. Uniform, not suit. The streetlights caught the insignia on his shoulder, Major General. She knew the name before he even spoke. Lieutenant Emily Vance, he called out, voice calm but carrying authority like a blade. You can stand down. It's over. She opened the door slowly, the cool night air washing over her like a tide she'd been holding back. The general's face came into focus, older, lined, but steady. He saluted her first. The sight made something inside her break and mend all at once. I didn't know who to trust, she said quietly. He nodded. You did what you were trained to do. That frequency was a ghost channel, reactivated for a sweep test. But your response confirmed something for us. What's that? She asked. He met her eyes. That some soldiers never go offline. The world seemed to tilt slightly in that moment. The neighbors had gathered in hushed confusion, watching from porches, phones in hand. They saw only a young mother standing barefoot in the driveway, holding a baby, surrounded by convoy lights. But the men in uniform saw something else. A veteran who had never stopped serving, even when no one was watching. The general handed her a small folder, sealed and stamped. Your commendation. For continued readiness. His voice softened. And for surviving what most couldn't. She took it with both hands, unsure whether to laugh or cry. I'm not that person anymore. He smiled faintly. You never stopped being her. You just found a new post. By morning, the SUVs were gone. The neighbors, still whispering, saw only tire tracks and the faint smell of jet fuel carried on the breeze. Emily stood on her porch, coffee steaming in one hand, her son nestled in the other. The baby monitor sat silent beside her, its green light blinking slow and steady like a heartbeat that had finally found its rhythm again. She looked out at the horizon, ordinary houses, ordinary lives, and smiled, tired but certain. Service, she realized, wasn't about rank or recognition. It was about presence, quiet vigilance, the kind that rocks a cradle with one hand and still listens for the call with the other. That night, as she laid her son down to sleep, she whispered softly into the stillness, words no one else would ever hear. Channel closed, area secure, and somewhere deep in the static of the unseen, an old frequency went silent for good.